We're programmed to think that we were just plopped here, in the middle of a universe, full of thousands of other universes, with possible other life, maybe even other gods, and we're all just trying to figure it out. Making our lives seem so insignificant, yet so full of potential, that some are excited about the range of possibilities, while others are crushed at the thought of it, the pressure to make the most out of it, to live it to the fullest. But what standard is there to meet if we're all just specks of dust in one big galaxy? Unless standards made by men that maybe even they couldn't meet. It all just didn't make sense to me, until it did. I think that the purpose of life is to lose it. Yes, to lose your life. When I was recording this clip, a friend of mine asked what my next video would be about. They then told me that once they read a book that described the purpose of life as the number 42. And as they stated that, I was reminded of Matthew chapter 1, which I had read that morning. 42 does have a lot to do with the purpose of life. 42 generations to get to the one that split time. 42 generations for humanity to finally get the freedom of the relationship in which they were designed. I think that we often hear the name Jesus and blow it off, tag it as a distant religious term. Not for me, some guy who died, a man that lived oh so long ago. But the reality is that believing in him is where true life is found. It's where life begins, where purpose and divine will meet, where dirt and sand begin to sing of the praise of a glorious king. But wait, before you click off and leave, can I ask you, for what are you living this thing? For the praise of people? For the chance of meaning? To reach a dollar amount that no longer requires bleeding? It's all vain, and I'm sure you know. Not one person from any class system has claimed it not so, and if not claimed it, they've shown, lo and behold, aware of how dead their souls are, that they consider themselves in control to take the toll that Jesus gave his whole life for. It's all vain, and I'm sure you know. To say that family and love is the purpose behind an unplanned, unpurposed explosion of light and all the things that constantly give us plight, it's all vain, and I'm sure you know there has to be something bigger, something greater, something that gives us all hope. And there is a God, there is a heaven, and there is a hell, but I promise you that God means more than well. He gave us an escape route that's beyond what we could ever amount. Jesus is not just a name, but it proclamates that we're saved. Though you may wonder, why make a world so rough and then offer a solution for saving? Twisted it may seem, I'm sure you're contemplating. The reality is that God simply created us, but as we all so desperately want, he too desires to be loved. You want love, don't you? And if you claim it not so, likely it stems from a time when you once so desperately did, and it was not given. We can agree that true love is not forced, it's organic. The results of someone seeing us for who we truly are and deciding to endure life with us anyways. I think that the purpose of life is to lose it, to deny yourself and the life that you have chosen, maybe even been given, and to find new life in Christ. In Romans chapter 6, verse 4, it states, "For we died and were buried with Christ by baptism, and just as Christ was raised from the dead by the glorious power of the Father, now we also may live new lives." But like Nicodemus, you may ask, how can I have new life without being born again? That's the reality, to find true life, true meaning in a new life, A life where heaven isn't a distant possible reality, but a part of life that you are already living out. And everything else seems strikingly minuscule when you grasp the fact that you're not just a speck in the universe, but in fact experiencing a speck on the line of life that leads to eternity. Makes the life here and now seem so insignificant, yet vastly important since it determines the rest. Contrary to popular belief, your life is not about you, and that's freeing. To be a part of a new, non-corrupt government, a new kingdom, and your placement in it is not based on your race, your nationality, or your income, but by your acceptance. In Colossians chapter 3, verse 3, it states, "For you died to this life, and your real life is hidden with Christ in God." I invite you to lose this idea of a perfect life you've developed in your mind and find your real life, hidden life, in Christ.